Where's the imagination station? Fuck your VCR, kid. I have a holiday.
And Monty can show Wit some movies. I don't know, westerns or what. I don't know what the fuck boomers like. The History Channel. But you know what's
Awesome.
not a lot of fun? Adventures in
Getting
Odyssey
spanked by your
episodes.
grandpa.
Welcome to Talking to Tomatoes, the podcast where we talk about the Christian fundamentalist children's media that we grew up on, not only for the quality but for the pernicious propaganda behind it. My name is Eric Eberly.
And I'm Jubilee Alexander.
Today we got some classic Odyssey again for you. We're doing a two-parter. What is it? All in the Family? Friends of the Family?
Part
Members.
of the family. Parts 1 and 2 from 1988.
Oh,
Probably.
boy.
Woo!
This isn't Odyssey.
This
We
is
said
a
it last
juicy
episode
nugget.
we did. But this is the kind of this is what we expect from a American late 80s, early 90s Christian conservative evangelical radio program, and it's got it all.
Oh, got it all. It did not disappoint. I believe at one point I got a text from you that reads, "Holy shit, next text, Wit's dead son." So spoiler alert.
um as we before we go on, we do want to issue a content warning for this
Yes.
episode. It
Mildest
does
of content warnings.
Yeah, this episode deals with corporal punishment. It is almost exclusively through discussion. There is no. It doesn't actually happen in the program. We're not. But it is discussed, and we're gonna briefly mention it.
One of our issues with it that's going to come up is that it literally happens off screen, and they're like, "Damn, that was crazy," and oh well, and move on. Um,
Yeah.
and it like is a big deal later, and they're just like, "Oh, I guess, never mind, it's fine."
Yeah,
Anyway,
so if that is something that that deeply bothers you, go ahead and skip this one.
shoot.
Go watch another one. No big deal. This will come back to us next time. But before we get started on that, what's making you happy?
What makes me happy this week is Warhammer tournaments, even when they're happening months and months ahead of time. There's a lot of excitement in the Warhammer community. I think half of my things end up being about miniatures or Warhammer. But I've signed up for two big tournaments this summer. Well, I guess one this month and one in the summer. And it's just a lot of fun. You get to go and you get to play a lot of serious Warhammer at you get to unserious events. And I'm also hanging around with a lot more competitive players, and I'm like, this isn't me. Once again, I'm never going to attain the 80%, above like the 80%. I might be better than 80% of all Warhammer players because most players are extremely casual. But hey, I'm not doing this. I'm just gonna have fun.
I was gonna say the that difficulty. You go, hey, we're making progress, and then you hit the 80th, 90th percentile, and then it's like, oh my god, I am, the difference between me and the worst Warhammer player in the world is less than the difference between me and like the 91th percentile.
I mean, dude, there are people who are legitimately playing like 4 or 5 games a week all the time. That might be a little extreme. They are definitely getting in 2 or 3 games a week and probably closer to like 4 and 5. And it's with the same list to refine every possible angle and cut tiny little angles off on different deploy. It's wild what these people do, and I think it takes a lot of the fun out of the game. So I'm gonna paint some space wolves. What's making you
Hey,
happy
there
this
we
week?
go. Yeah, do the stuff that you. I mean, I think I've said this before. I think that's what's great about the hobby is there's not one way to like engage in it.
Oh
And
yeah,
so do exactly the way you want to do. The thing that's making me happy this week is having creative friends. I'm in the process of producing a D&D actual play show, and I was sort of at this weird point where I needed to film a bunch of like close-ups of the minis for the episodes where we do combat, and I don't really know what I'm doing, and it was feeling overwhelmed, and I feel like I need help, but because I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know what to ask for, so I don't know how to like source help. And I was sharing that with my co-producer, and she said, "Well, why don't you just have everyone come over, and if it ends up being like a super quick or a super easy thing or something that you don't actually need that much help with, then we just hang around and we snack and we chat while you crouch over the table, taking close up videos." And I was kind of like assuming it was going to go that way, but the creativity that came out was from everybody else, and the how nice it was for me to be able to sort of like focus, where I'm sitting there like focusing on what's in the middle of it, and someone else is like, "Hang on, we need to do that one again." We could see, someone is leaning on the table, and we can see their hand in the shot. Something I was
Mhm.
like, "Oh my god, that's so great that you saw that," because otherwise I'd have broken everything down, get the footage, start looking at it, and go, "Shit!" like half of what we shot, so, someone's picking their nose in the background.
Have you already played the stuff that you're taking pictures of, or is it just like close up B-roll?
No, no, no. It's in some cases like recreations of things that happen. So it's literally like one of the last things that we have to do.
That's really interesting with the other players there too, because like for them, you're sitting there thinking about the big picture and probably to a certain extent thinking about performing the monsters from the monster's point of view, but they're like, what was my moment? Like I imagine myself like leaning up against like this pillar to like get a shot off or something, and so they could like participate in that way of getting their aim. I don't know if that's what was happening.
There was a little bit of that because I was, I have the episodes cut together, and now I just need like it's long boring sections of us talking and rolling dice and stuff, and like we need stuff to cut to like keep the energy
Yeah.
up.
Keep the
And
visual
so I
interest going
went
on.
through at all of these points. I wrote something that needed to happen, but at various points I was a little too vague. So and so fights monsters. I'm like, that's, especially in some of the angles where you can see what it is, and like it really is trying to recreate something that already happened as opposed to just give the vibes of what, oh no, the monster comes around the building and you film a close up. I
Yeah.
had to be like, okay, what happened next? And someone was like, I'm pretty sure by that point, like the goblins were dead, and we were like focusing on the stuff like that. But yeah, just having creative friends was a lot of fun. But you know what's
Awesome.
not a lot of fun is Adventures in
Getting
Odyssey
spanked by your
episodes.
grandpa.
Yes. Members of the family, parts 1 and 2. This Yeah, so the gist of these episodes is Wit's grandson Monty, hysterical name, love it. Comes to stay with him for the summer at some point because he eventually ends up joining like a baseball team. So yeah, it's not a short amount of time.
Yeah. It's
That
not a
he
weekend. It's not even a week. It's like a while. It's supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah. Which was kind of weird because there's conflict at the beginning around him at the kid wanting his mom to come and get him from the banking conference, and I'm like, how long is this banking conference? That uh,
I wonder if she was like. I wonder if she was like near. What if the vibe was supposed to be like they were nearby? So she comes, drops him off, goes to the banking conference, and then goes back for the summer.
oh yeah, maybe.
Or it was just a 3 month banking conference. They were trying to figure out these subprime mortgages. That's a finance joke for all you 2008 heads out there.
Man, I'm sure this is definitely closer to the savings and loan crisis than the subprime mortgage. I mean, that stuff is.
I
I
don't
mean,
think
this is
that's
1988.
true.
It's literally 30
Wait, that
years
might be
away.
true.
Oh no, not 30 years. 20 years away. It's 20 years before the subprime mortgage crisis.
Yeah, I was like, what are you talking about?
Bankers aren't
It,
thinking
like,
that far
it
ahead.
might be comparable to today versus the. I
Sure.
mean, we are on the cusp of the AI crash. So if you're listening to this in your bunker, called it.
Ha ha.
Ha ha! I'm right, you're wrong, idiot. We're
So
all dead in the wasteland.
so the episode opens with Wit and Tom talking. And he's so Wit's excited because he's gonna see his grandson in. Doesn't he say he hasn't seen him in like 3 years or something?
He
That
hasn't
feels.
seen him in a couple years, and he was little. Well, I feel like he's not that. How old is he? Is he 9?
He's like 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there. I feel like it's that weird sort of kid thing where, you know, he might have been 12, but it's Odyssey, so he sounds like he's 8 or 9. And it's like I knew I know how this is gonna go bad because the city of Pasadena, California is mentioned, and I was like, California.
They're Californias in there. Has Chicago been railed on in this, or am I thinking of the butter? Am I getting that crossed up with the Chicago is the
No,
prime bad place in the
because
butter crane?
no, that was the last episode because Connie, not the last consecutive like Odyssey one. Connie is was from Chicago.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah, yeah. So they everybody comes to Odyssey to have their lives permanently fixed by the boomer of all boomers. Um,
The arch boomer.
Something I'm not gonna dwell on this too much, but that has been throwing me off about some of these earlier episodes. The sound mixing is so weird. Like they'll be in Wit's End having like an establishing like the opening conversation that establishes what's going to happen and the characters and everything that's involved, and it is so loud. Like the ambient noise is turned so loud that I'm just like, and Tom and Wit both have kind of gentle voices, and so it's just like, what? I don't
Yeah,
know,
I feel like
maybe.
sometimes when they record Whittaker's voice and he's like blustered or like kind of in a hurry, he'll get a little bit louder and it will make sense. But this time it was like, oh, I haven't seen my grandson.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. So Monty is coming to town. Doesn't he get dropped off at a isn't it a bus station?
Yeah, he picks him up from the bus
Yeah,
station,
from the bus
which
station or something.
he's traveling alone. So hopefully he's not 7. I know
Hysterical.
it's the 80s, but goddamn.
Even that even that feels a little weird. I mean, this whole first episode is like a baby boomer rage fantasy because Monty shows up and he's not even really disrespectful. He's like quiet and kind of unenthused, and just everything in the way that it is framed is like he is wrong to be behaving this way, where it's like it could
He
be
should
for
be
any number of
stoked to
reasons.
be in a small town for the summer.
Yeah, California kid, used to all the amenities
What's in Pasadena that's cool? Is that where Disneyland is?
no, that's Anaheim. That
Oh, Anaheim.
it's not really
Is there
close.
anything cool in Pasadena? Or is it just
Probably,
like,
but probably, it's
oh,
so far away from where I live that I don't spend any
the
time there.
405, right?
Shut up. You don't know what the
I
fuck you're talking about.
I literally the first time I hit traffic in LA when I was visiting you, I was like, what the fuck? And there was like 405 west. I was like, oh, the 405.
But yeah, so Monty, quasi disrespectful, comes up, and then he immediately like starts like trying to find things out where because he has a bunch of movies with him because he wants to be like a film director, which is again, there's this whole section here that I just wrote. Well, this is such a dated episode because Monty shows up and he's got all these movies, and he's like, yeah, I like movies and we can watch them, and then Wit goes, I don't have a VCR. And well, I was like, damn, VCR. And then he goes, okay, well, we can go and rent a VCR. And I was like, that's right, you used to be
Rent
able to like go and rent, like you could go to a
equipment you needed.
Blockbuster and not only rent movies but rent the apparatus to watch them. And
And
then
again, I'm sorry, but there was a summer where you and I and our dad were alone in a house. All we did was rent videotape.
Yeah, I remember. We ate steak and no vegetables and got
We ate
constipated
steak,
and
threw
watched
away the
videos.
salad that we bought, played Dungeon Quest, and watched a movie every night. Watched a way too grown up action movie.
But so it's like, yeah, we don't have a VCR, and then Monty's like, do you have cable? And I was like, damn, cable. And then there's a point later where someone is like, oh well, you could join the little league team, and because the championship, the games are gonna, or I don't remember if it's the championships or just the games in general, are gonna
I
be
think it's
on the local
eminent.
access channel, on like the K on, you could watch the little league, local small town little league baseball on television. I'm like, damn, there was so little to
It
do.
was imagine God, imagine going back like 40 years and not like all you had was your creativity. They were just like, we're out of TV. I don't know what to show. Let's put the Little League on. I get public access was its own thing, but
Anyway, then at one point, Monty. Now there's this whole weird subplot thing that happens where Monty is like, he's lost some money, or at least he's saying that
he
he's lost
loses
some
his
money.
jacket with $100 in it, which was actually very interesting to me. That happened to me once when I was like 11 or 12 or something. I remember I think it got stolen out of like I left it was in my pocket somewhere, and it was a place that you never locked up your stuff because who was going to steal a 9-year-old's shoes at like a public pool, and somebody stole $100, and I was like and I was sitting there like I should not have put $100 in this plate thing that is designed to be locked without locking it. Like I
You're
don't
like,
know what
this
I
is
was
this
doing.
is a $100 lesson.
This is an
Don't leave.
expensive lesson I learned.
I shouldn't have left that there. But anyway, the thing that was confusing to me is because of the way that the sort of almost sinister way that Monty is sort of framed in at the beginning of the episode. I thought he was lying about his money, about having lost money,
Oh,
to like con Wit out of some money. Something that is further like confused by the fact that he literally steals some money from Wit later. But then he like, because he asks Wit if he can like call the trains or the bus station or whatever and like see if they found his coat, and it's like, oh yeah, your coat is in Cleveland. Yeah, no, we're not gonna put it on a bus. Like, what do you expect us to do here? Or maybe I don't understand how things were back then, but it's like, yeah, sorry, you left a coat and it's 400
I mean,
miles
it's
away. What do you want us to do?
possible. It's possible back in the day. They could have been like, we can throw it on the next bus that's going to go to that place because they were friendly. I mean,
Maybe, but yeah, just the way he was, I thought he was like trying to basically rope Wit into like a scheme of like, hey, I lost my iPhone, and they like hold up the lost and found bin, and they're like, yeah, that's totally my iPhone right there. And then later, Wit would be like, wait a minute, this jacket doesn't fit you. He's like, yeah, it's like a, yeah, it's
oh,
a
I
thing.
thought you meant, I thought he was pretending to have lost some money to get Wit to give him the money. Be like, oh, I had $100 to spend this summer. Grandma,
Yeah,
can I have a
maybe
hundred
something
bucks?
like.
But maybe it was too. I feel like this doesn't make any sense because it's more about the spirit of the thing than the like. I thought it was maybe to make the $5 he steals like not that big of a deal to
I'm
him
so
because
I'm
it's
so
like
rich and
just
from California that I can lose $100 and not think it's such a big deal. Oh, and
well, I
Wit
more
gets
mean when he
so
steals the
mad at
five
him.
dollars. He oh my god, he. That's the first point where it was like yeah, Wit's having like slightly outsized reactions for everything, and this would. I mean, I would like. It almost would have made more sense for him to be like, "Oh my gosh, that's terrible," but you need to be careful. Like, that's all. Again, that's $100 lesson right there. Like, don't freaking leave your stuff with $100 in it.
So yeah, they go back to Wit's house and he gets himself set up. And he's like making dinner, and it's just like, it's just such a, he's like listening to loud music, and I believe there's literally the line, turn down that racket. and he's like, "Oh, you don't like my music," and turns it off, and then comes and complains about the food that Wit makes, and just you know, it's like, okay, whatever. He's kind of a little he's kind of a cruddy kid, but oh, whatever. He's your grandkid, and he's in a new situation. Maybe you're chill about it. Nope, Wit doesn't get to be chill about anything. And then in the next scene, he's like he wants to go to he's like wanting to go to the movies, and so Wit is like taking him to Wit's End, and he's like, oh, so you're gonna like open up the register and give me some money, and then the Wit's like, no, you're gonna work for it, and Monty is a little snivelly about that. Um, who then cons some other schmo who works there into opening the registers. Yeah, he totally told me to just take $5 from the register, which again, small town in the '80s. I assumed that was like a thing that you would just sort of do to be like, I want to. Yeah, grandpa, let me take $5 from the register, and so he goes. But of course, that's not true. He's stealing. So it's just like this is like the perfect boomer rage fantasy. We've got, you know, the kid from California. All he wants to do is watch TV and movies and listen to loud music, and he
And
doesn't
eat
appreciate hard work,
brownies.
and he steals from his hardworking grandpa who loves him and is just trying to teach him a lesson.
And I believe this is the scene where they just randomly cut to Monty crying, and Wit's like, "Do you understand why I had to spank you?" And that's
Yeah,
the part where I go, "What the fuck?"
yeah. So apparently he gets spanked for this, and wants him to. And I will say I do sort of appreciate that because I'm pretty sure he goes, "Do you understand why I had to spank you?" And I'm pretty sure Monty goes like, "Because you hate me," or something like that. And I'm like, cool. At least he's not like because I deserved it. Like, you know, instantly. I mean, he learns his lesson basically instantly after this. But again, Odyssey being weird about how much time it actually passed. There's that. But I also think it is a very weird thing for something that is like supposed to be like it's focused on the family. They were always and have always been very pro spank. I mean, I don't know if they technically still are.
Dr. Dobson, rest in piss, bitch, is is like almost like it is bad if you don't do corporal punishment, not just
Spanking is an option that you can take. It's like you have to.
no, yeah. It's to the point of like giving instructions on literally how to spank children to a really fucked up degree.
Yeah, and so for them to be that pro corporal punishment, it kind of feels like, I don't know, just a bitch move to then not. I mean, there's not even like him dragging him off into another room to spank him, or him getting mad and being like, I did, like, I can't believe you, like, you know, it literally is. It goes from him taking the money to him after so it's just like so much has happened. Wit found it, you know, Monty went to the movies. Wit found out that the money had been stolen, and apparently they had some sort of conflict, and something happened there that where Wit is deciding that that spanking is the next step into it. You know, again, what happened? Did Monty not show remorse? Did he walk in the door and Wit just starts wailing on him? Like, how you're trying to teach us how to do this
Yeah.
correctly, or worst read of it all, indoctrinate children to believe that spanking is like good for them or whatever, but you're not seeing anything that like leads up to it in a way that it's like, okay, so do you believe in this or not? Or
Well, because Wit leaves after, like, gives him his big long bullshit story that I thought was gonna like come up later, and then Monty calls his mom and says, "Grandpa hit me. He took my money." Like, it, clearly he's just mad about it, which is like vibes. I was like, we were spanked, and honestly, most of the time, yeah, I was like, not to go into detail or anything, but it was like most of the time it was just frustrating and confusing.
Yeah, so Monty calls his mom, who then like rearranges her. And it's a very strange thing that then happens because later, quite a bit later, I think. Oh, it's because the mom arrives at the end of the first episode, and so the second episode is mostly like her sort of response to everything that happens. She comes and is like furious at Wit, but she comes a long time later because Monty has like turned a new leaf, like completely reformed, joined the little league, like established himself enough to the point where at some point Tom is talking about he's like a great outfielder, infielder, whatever. So it's just like so much has happened for the mom to, as if she jumped on a plane that evening and showed up the next day
She's
and was
like
like,
reacting like she got that phone call 45 minutes ago and she drove straight there, or even the night before and drove through the night to come
yeah,
grab
because
her
she's like,
kid.
I'm hundreds of miles out of my way to come here because of what you've done to my son. But weeks have passed. I mean, I can't
Like,
imagine
has to
the
be at least a week.
at which point Monty, like as I said, has sort of like turned over a new leaf and is working hard and is like fitting in here and is enjoying his time in Wits End.
Yeah, and I sort of feel like it could have almost been like that delay could have worked in a, oh, like you have to stick with things. And like maybe it would even be a lesson for Wit and Monty to be learning. I don't know, like not patience, but just like diligence, I guess. And then he's like, "Oh shit, like mom's here, has all
Yeah,
these, because of all
and
those things I said with the snap decision."
we talked about this a little bit, how we weren't going to really dwell too much on the spanking because it's so weirdly handled. But I also don't imagine anybody watching this show is going to be like the, well, you got to spank kids sometimes kind of a thing. But very just to put my succinct cents out there, like don't spank your kids. Like if they are young enough that they can't understand like the consequences of their actions, they shouldn't be spanked because otherwise it's arbitrary in their brains. And if they're old enough to understand like consequences, you can talk to them and like have some sort of a conversation and explain to them like why you shouldn't do that. Well, why you can't do this, why we're having to do one thing or the other without hitting them. So there's literally no reason to ever do that. Okay, rant over. But Wit's daughter shows up at the end of the episode and is like, "What have you done to my son?" It's so melodramatic. She literally like, "What have you done to my son?" And the synthesizer fade out to
Blam
the end of the episode.
blam. 15 goddamn minutes of the next episode are just the recap and like exposition of.
Yeah, that is another thing that Chris has a lot more to say in the beginnings of these episodes, and it's like we get it.
Silence
Okay.
me at your peril, motherfucker.
Um, but yeah, early in the next episode, I forget if it's the first scene or like the second because Whit and his daughter have like a big old dust up about everything, and then Whit and Tom are talking about it, and Whit's mad about everything that's happening. Oh, and he says a line that makes me so fucking mad about he literally describes his daughter as dangerous because she's like having this big reaction
Because
to
she's bitter or angry or something. She's so
yeah,
angry she's dangerous. It's like, you're the one who fucking hit a kid.
yeah. Let's not gloss over this. There's the specific line that she says about, it's doubly funny. She goes, "You know how we feel about this." Clearly, they don't, like Monty's never been spanked before. So it's like, "Oh, so you're not just hitting a child. You're hitting a child whose parents have clearly
A
directly
knowledgeable
told you."
violation of their parenting plan.
Right, right. Which also is funny because in this argument that Whit and his daughter are having, one of them says something. I forget if it's he. He says, "Well, you guys turned out all right when I hit you," and I'm like, clearly not, because they are raising their child wrong. Huge air quotes.
Yeah, what
And
did that solve?
they're angry and disrespectful and bitter and dangerous, and you spanked them. So like, what the hell? What the
I live
hell?
in California. Spank your kids hard or they'll go to California.
Don't spank your kids. They'll end up in California. Hey, maybe that's why I'm here. I mean, I also just think it's again such the boomer fantasy of the kid is corporally punished once and then he completely reforms, sort of a thing. Which, I mean, I guess sort of makes sense in the sense that fuck, grandpa's a goddamn psycho, and if I do something he doesn't like, he's gonna hit me. I guess I gotta. But that's not, again, how it's done. Monty is a happy, hardworking kid after that. But so Wit is mad at his daughter, and she's mad at
He
him. They
runs
have,
to his boyfriend's arms to
yeah, yeah, they're cleaning up after dinner or something, and
sorry, it's
um
so like we're not just a big part of the reason we joke about Wit and Tom is because it's weirdly homoerotic and the creators of this would hate that. But it's also like really gay. Like it is after the party, after like he talks about how late his daughter showed up to try to pick up the kid. He goes, "No, it's late. I'll get a hotel. I'll come get Monty in the morning," and leaves. And time has passed, and Tom is still there helping Wit like wash the dishes or
right.
something. And I'm just like, y'all gonna kiss? Like, what's going on?
Tom embracing Wit from behind. Now, lover, now, lover. Don't get your,
Now,
don't get yourself all in a tizzy. But
let me get you in a tizzy. Gross. Focus
anyway,
on my family, Tom.
they basically just retread this argument over and over. There's some reason why they don't leave immediately. I forget if it's that Monty says he doesn't want to, or like does he convince them to stay because like the
He,
championship game is
it's
coming.
something like that. There's one thing that has to happen,
So they
which
stick
just
around,
leads
and
to
every time Wit and his daughter like enter a room together, they have the same argument about everything. And I mean, just the way that they fight is so like petty and just bitter and stuff. And I'm just like, well, like we're literally seeing three generations of petty bitches in a row. Wit and his daughter, and it's like that's where Monty gets it. Like, it's from you two. Tom says something about just like they both have had their feeling. It's like you and your daughter are clearly having problems because you've both had your feelings hurt, which I guess is kind of like a good
Tom's
point.
makes
It's
them make some decent points because like in the first conversation, he's like she just needs to calm down and listen to reason, and he's like, "Did you calm down and listen to reason?" He's like, and I was literally like, "Oh damn, Tom's got some
yeah, yeah.
claws." Like but like of course Wit's just like, "Okay, good point," and just goes beyond that.
Yeah, it's like they do sort of address the kind sort of some kind of bitterness there, in a way that is a little bit interesting. But they just gloss over the boundary violations and the corporal punishment. I forget what instigates
How do they
their
talk
sort of
about
final.
the elephant who's not in the room, 6 feet underground? He just
What's that?
randomly
Oh,
brings up that he just randomly brings up that his son died in Vietnam. He brings that up out of the blue and it's very emotional, but I'm just like, what the fuck does this have to do with this thing other
this
than
children's radio
manipulation?
program about a snotty grandkid, and then we're dealing with a dead son, dead brother, situation.
In
But
Vietnam in
basically,
particular.
did they actually say? I thought he
They
just
did
said the war.
they said the war for a while and I was literally like, did he fricking die in World War II? How old is Whittaker? But
I
no,
had you.
he later did say Vietnam
Okay,
specifically,
okay, okay.
which
So it sort of comes down to that Wit was being a controlling dad because he lost one kid and he didn't want to lose the other, and so that the classic sort of as he sort of tried to hold on tighter, that like made that like pushed them away. I think doesn't the mom even specifically say like that's why we left because
it's
like
why we moved. And then he's like giving her shit for getting divorced, which is wild because out of the blue, Wit like changes his mind on not everything, but on half of them. Like Monty comes in is yells at them for fighting like you and Dad used to fight, and then Wit's like, hey, they tried to make it work, and doesn't even say like made the best choice and broke up after he was just giving her shit for about it. Like
yeah, yeah, he turns so fast on whether divorce is ever okay, which again I'm just like I can't believe that like I would expect a show like this to be like they would shift the blame to the person who's not there, essentially. Because yeah, Monty's also like you're gonna drive grandpa away the way you drove dad away, essentially, and so that's why honestly, a pretty great like pullback on the part of Wit as far as that goes to be like they did what they could. But again, I'm pretty sure it's even the same conversation. It's not like
they
time
don't.
passed and
I
they
think they're sitting there fighting, and Monty comes in, is like, stop fighting, which again is a fair reaction and a fair thing to say, but it's like, why did Wit change his mind? Like, good thing he did, but he wasn't convinced. He almost just did it as a way to like have a new thing to say to Monty. Like, I don't know.
yeah, 15 years of being a jerk about the divorce or the divorce of the husband or whatever feels like a longer period of time because it's kind of part of this like core of bitterness that their relationship is sort of anchored to.
Yeah.
And then to have him just switch is so weird.
So the main problem with this episode is obviously just the fact that it's using a pretty standard children's story format to convey a lot of shitty ideas. When like a better version of it could be, I mean, what would a better version of this look like? Obviously, it wouldn't involve the span. Like there could be a lot of growing pains. There could be a
Page
lot of
one notes.
learning.
Page one
Yeah.
notes. No spanking. Like get rid of the corporal
No
punishment.
spanking. Don't spend weeks driving across the country to save your child from abusive grandpa. But like, I just imagine a story like it's hard to know how to rewrite something like this because it's like what was the point of this story was like I was kind of forgiveness. It took so long to get there.
Yeah, are we talking about the kid like being like sort of a little kind of a snotty, disrespectful kind of a thing? Which you could there's way more interesting and ways that you could actually show like or hear about on screen to sort of drive home that the things that he wants aren't basically just a different way of being to be like hey like we there's just as much creativity and imagination to be had.
Where's the imagination station? Fuck your VCR, kid. I have a holiday.
Yeah, I'm yeah. Oh, that reminds me. We need to figure out when the imagination station shows up, and we need to like
We should jump ahead. I want to start doing those because I would love to see how they do history at some
yeah
point. But like I don't know, like there it started fine, which was just oh Monty likes things very differently. Maybe even Monty's 9 now. He's not a 6 year old that you just get to like carry around and do all like not you don't carry 6 year olds around, but you know what I mean. You don't just transport him from place to place and do all your fun little grandpa activities. He's like, wow, I haven't been here. I haven't been in Monty's life in a couple of years. He's a new person. I mean,
yeah. They both they have to meet in the middle kind of a thing. Wit gets to show Monty kind of life in a small town and sort of a simple pleasures kind of a thing. And Monty can show Wit, some cool some movies, and I don't know, westerns or what, I don't know what the fuck boomers like. The History Channel. But yeah, so you have them sort of meet in the middle. I mean, like literally everything about this episode could almost remain the same without corporal punishment introduced into it, because Wit could kind of be like, "Hey, listen, buddy, I am in charge of you. You are basically my child. It is my job to protect you and keep you safe and happy and healthy and stuff. You have to follow my rules." And Monty could call up his mom and lie about, hell, he could lie about Grandpa spanking him for all we want. I mean, that's a little harder, because then that flips it all back on Monty when they have the, what do you mean you spanked him? No, I
I
didn't,
mean,
Monty.
imagine Monty loses his money. Now he's like, shit, I don't have any spending money. He goes, well, you can always come work at the shop. He's like what? I think you should give the kid an allowance, but like if he's like, I mean, to teach him a lesson, you could be like, since you lost the money that you already had, the way you need to get money is to work for it. And he's like, he could briefly be like, I don't want to do this. And he's like, okay, well, you can go play outside. And he's like, wow, there's nothing to do. Let me see what Grandpa is doing in there. And then he goes in and is like, wow, Grandpa's working hard. Or even just, it's kind of cool to work. Like, wow, I earned the $5 or something. And like, it took me like 3 days to earn the money to go to like, which is it's probably just teaching kids about capitalism and how cool it is. But like, it's at least a more connected lesson than just, I lost the money. Now I'm going to rob my grandpa, which is a pretty monstrous thing.
I mean, you could still have the mom could still sort of be bitter, or she could be bitter about something else, about him being like so strict, and then she comes and sees Monty having a grand old time and being like, no, you never did, you never let us do that. And we could still have the dead brother reveal. I don't actually know if this is a reveal.
We can
These are
still kill
episodes.
Wit's son. I'll do it. I don't care. Let me kill his son. It's not important because I don't think they're gonna go back in time and change a 35-year-old episode.
Damn.
I
Uh,
checked. I got a witch to talk to Dr. Dobson, and he said, "Ah, fuck, I'm burning in hell." So I'm not sure
I
what
will
that
continue to
means.
burn in hell unless
Yeah, don't spank your kids.
don't spank your kids.
But what good classic episode. This I feel like Whittaker is starting to bloom into his not his final form or anything, because I don't know when that will exactly be, but we're kind of like, oh, this is like the final boss.
It is funny looking at Tom as sort of like a foil for Wit, and being like, when did we lose Tom? Is the question
Did
that
Tom
I
make too much sense too often?
yeah,
And
and then
broke
people
up.
are like, no, said Dr. Dobson. I'm Whitaker, and I don't like people disagreeing with me. That's why I built this whole
God, he
organization.
does think of himself as fucking Whittaker, doesn't he?
So yeah, I think next time we're gonna skip ahead a little or a lot. I don't know when the imagination station. We gotta get to that. Or hey, here's what we'll do: either imagination station or first time we meet Eugene. When he gets added to the character
Because the voice actor's there. We've heard someone who's clearly Eugene's voice actor is in the background
yeah.
doing some minor parts. He might even be Tom if you think about it. Is Tom just Eugene with like a southern accent?
I don't think so. The guy who plays Eugene has a way more nasally voice, and Tom's voice sits way too back in his
Tom's
throat.
saying like this.
He's a little more Lindsey Graham. Uh,
It's from all those. Never mind.
so of course the please follow us on the socials,
The only
subscribe.
old men I want to think about having sex are Dr. Robbie and Abbott.
What?
Watch the pit. Never
God
mind.
damn it! I'm trying to outro it, and you keep making me think of old men having sex.
So,
Uh,
outro. Stop thinking
the
about old men having sex.
Sorry, do the outro. Do the outro. Yeah, so you can subscribe to the podcast. We're on Apple as well as Spotify. Like and scream, subscribe. You know all the things. Give us all the stars that you can.
Rate us. How
Rate
many
us.
how many Dr. Robbies do you give this episode?
How
The
many
answer is
Dr.
5.
Robbies? The answer should be 5 at the same time.
Do you watch The Pit?
God
You
damn
should.
it. You also, if you are interested in the video version of the podcast that's available on YouTube, Talking to Tomatoes. We also have a TikTok where we very infrequently post
You're
clips.
welcome. I'm sorry.
Whose job is that?
I barely post on my TikTok anymore.
That's Talking to Tomato. Also, we have our individual TikToks. I am Eric.Eberly.
And I'm Titan of Joy on TikTok and Instagram.
Talk to you later, tomatoes.
And I'm Chris. Remember, if you don't hate your kids, they'll go to California. And if you don't hate your kids, I will. Rest in piss, Dr. Dobson. And who do you think's the top, Dr. Robbie or Dr. Abbott?
God damn it.
This is a Fushoji. God fucking damn it. I'm food going out over here. End of the recording.